Never one to be afraid of controversy, Alistair Campbell decided to hold a phone-in on the radio this week and discuss gender equality. What could possibly go wrong? Who should call but his own daughter? Grace had a few things to say. He called women birds. He was useless around the house and also didn't like talking about periods. Show me a bloke who does. I'm not bad for 61, he protested. I'm on his side. Outside the workplace, where's the harm in calling women girls, anyone love or darling, or my lover, if in Bristol? Once a street trader called me Blossom, not Madam, and it made my day, but I'm not sure my 24-year-old daughter would like it. Maybe we of a certain age have to accept that we are behind the curve, not woke. It could be the younger generation is right to school us. And just as Miss World contestants are covering up, it's time to make our words, as well as our behaviour, appropriate to the Me Too era. What do you think, my lovers?
Do you know, I despair of the sexist grammar police, I really do.
Okay.
You know, only urban sophisticates could object to being called darling or love or whatever. And Alistair Campbell, you know, he's a totally different case in point. He's rude. Every time I meet him, he's entirely rude, man or woman. It doesn't matter what you are. Yeah, well, maybe it is just to me, but you know, I do happen to be a woman. He's incredibly rude to me. But I love the fact that we call women love and darling and petal and honey. And in London, I heard one the other day, somebody calling a woman treacle, and I guess that's because you're sweet. And I think all of these things are said in warm, affectionate ways, and they're part of this colloquial, colourful language we have. And I feel, you know, I feel sorry for guys who must walk around terrified of offending people the whole time, terrified that some purse-lipped woman is going to call them a sexist. I want to...
Greg, can I just ask you, there was somebody who had to resign the other day for saying in a lift that he was going to ladies' lingerie. I mean, are we just getting far too oversensitive about language? Or should we dinosaurs
I've got a daughter a bit like Alistair,
so have I.
who would give me quite a hard time on certain language.
Like, what would she tell you not to say?
She expose you in public like
when yes. But when I talk about girls, I mean, I talk about girl, you know, nice guy. Her view is if you're in your 30s, you're not a girl, you're a woman.
Yeah, but you say guys as well.
But should we just hear what Alistair Campbell actually said? What Grace, how she schooled him?
You still call women birds, which I think isn't. I think you don't even think about the impact that has. You know,
when do I do that?
You do it when you're around men. Huh?
When do I do that?
You do it when you're around men. You do it when you're around men. I've observed.
Okay, do I really?
That's something. If you truly want to be a feminist, women aren't birds. Birds are birds. Birds can fly. Women can't fly.
And I like birds.
I mean, she doesn't like him using birds, but there are other... I think the issue she has is that there are certain words that we only apply to women, and it is a way of sort of demeaning... Can I just run through them? Yeah. Abrasive, bitchy, bombshell, curvy, ditzy, emotional, hormonal, hysterical, shrill, and
that's rude.
Well,
that's downright rude.
So we never apply to men.
I was in the studio when this happened because I took over from him after he went off air because it was...
he shaken?
He was sitting in for Nigel, and he usually... I felt sorry for him for a reason, and I don't know the guy. It's the first time I actually met him in person. The bloke, I should say. The first time I met him in person. And I just felt there was something unedifying with somebody's daughter calling in to embarrass them like that, you know?
So he didn't think it was funny?
Well, he didn't mention it. No, it wasn't set up. And he didn't mention it to me. No, I think perhaps the producers asked her to I don't know, but he didn't know about it, I think, because you can tell when, before that clip, is when she says hello, he instantly recognises her voice and starts laughing and says hello. So it was a surprise for him in terms of his reaction. I just want to say very quickly, I just think, look, there are certain words that we only use for women. Birds is one of them, but there are certain words we only use for men. Like bloke is one of them, right? And then girls and guys...
Bloke is neutral.
Yeah, OK, but what I mean is, this is an example. There's many words like that.
Yeah.
And
I think birds is quite offensive, actually.
Well, it may...
It's the only one I don't like.
It may be. 56%, I've got a little thing here, 56% of women want bird banned, actually.
Only 56%?
Yeah, 56%. Dole, 45%.
I want to ask Michelle, because there's a lot of evidence that in the regions, as we might call them, you know, they say duck or chicken in the Midlands, and it's quite normal just to add these terms of endearments on, and they don't colour the sentence at all.
No, but like I do that all the time. Like I'll call people sweetheart or kidder, and if you want to call me a bird, like his daughter just said, oh, you don't understand the impact of what that has. If someone calls me a bird or whatever, I don't really care. It's like the intention is. But then I will be completely honest, and this probably isn't great. You talk about people will call you like, hey, babe, or hey, sweetheart.
I hate babe.
If that is a relatively good-looking, non-sleazy guy, I don't mind. Yeah. If it is some fat old, you know, lecherous-looking guy that's rubbing his thighs whilst he's calling me babe, I have a problem with that. So there
Why am I thinking one's right?
Do you get offended by a wolf whistle from a building site?
No, I think it's awesome.
It's
I love
nice.
it. I'm getting into it now.
Can I just bring... You mentioned that your daughter...
No, what does she think?
No, you just mentioned your daughter and girls, OK? This is a quote from Sir Roger Gale, who got hell last week because he was talking about his wife who works in his office, and he said, she's utterly dedicated to her job, as indeed are the other girls in my office. Everyone went mad because he referred to these women. He's an MP, he's Sir Roger Gale MP. Everyone went mad because he called these women girls, which I think is, you know, when I meet...
It's a bit demeaning, though.
I don't think it is.
Can I just say what I think? I actually, in the end, had to write about that, and I thought about that case really carefully, and what I realised was it's all depending on context. If you're in a bar and someone says hello, babe, to you, but if you're in the office and he says babe, let's say you go into a consultant surgery, and the consultant sitting there, let's say he's a man, says, hello, sweetheart. You know, you don't want that. You want a sense of formality.
But the same with men, though. I get on an aeroplane and the male air steward calls me a pet or a darling because they're gay, right?
Okay.
And it's fine, but I wouldn't expect that in an office.
I don't think all air stewards.
Just all of them. Every single one. These days, waiters as well. You know?
I got tucked in once by an air steward. I always found that a bit weird.
Was he gay, though? Maybe because that's the other thing.
He took me in. It was a bit odd.
When I meet a group of elderly ladies, right, I go, hi, girls. I go, hi, girls. And they quite like that because I'm saying it in a warm way.
What we need to say to our young people, girls or boys, is if someone calls you something that you're not comfortable with, have the balls to say, look, I'd prefer you to call me Michelle or this or that. So don't sit and get offended and analyse impacts of things. If someone's calling you something that you're uncomfortable with...
and on that note...
Shouldn't you just say, stop being so precious and silly about it all? It doesn't mean anything.
No, but surely it just changes over time. And what was acceptable 20, 30 years ago, people take offence at now. That's
life. I was worrying about young people's emotions and feelings. Maybe I come from a different generation where we didn't have time to think about your emotion and feelings too much, and we spend too much time worrying about how things impact on them now. Somebody calling you darling or love or petal is not going to harm you in any way, shape or form.
What I find really interesting is, of course, they have their own destigmatised words that, for an older generation, are still stigmatised, like, for example, certain swear words. And so it also works in reverse. And I would say to young people, there are certain words you use that to an older ear would sound offensive, and yet those same young people say, oh, get over it and stop being so prudish. And so I think it works both ways, and it's just the way language evolves.
Now you mention the older generation, another great advantage of calling everyone darling is, like they do in the theatre, you don't know their name.
Of course,
you have no idea who you're talking to. So you say, hello, darling, lovely to see you, darling.
No, I worked with a guy who called all women darling and all men captain, forever. That's it. He never knew anybody's names.
Or boss. And guys call each other boss, don't they? Go, hello, boss, whatever, even if he's not your boss. Just call him boss. But it's sweet, it's all done in a... It depends how it's done, isn't it? When Alistair Campbell does it to me, it's aggressive. You know, but other men calling you petal...
What did he call you?
Oh, he's called me lots of names. Unrepeatable. I mean, unrepeatable.
I did feel sorry for him a bit, though.
No, you shouldn't.